For a limited time at Sprint, get $50 for each new phone you lease when you switch. That's right. You'll get $50 for each new phone on a prepaid MasterCard issued by MetaBank member FDIC. Just register for the card online and you're good to go. Get a network built for unlimited and a great price at Sprint. It's the best of both worlds. And get $50 on a prepaid MasterCard for each phone you lease. Visit a Sprint store this weekend only for sizzling Sprint Saturday deals.
Card terms, conditions, and expiration apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Sunny D. Welcome to tonight's show. Clint, you want to say hi?
What's going on, good people? You already know who it is. It's your boy Clint. What's going on?
Yeah, guys, I'm pretty sure Willie will be calling in a few minutes, but we got an interesting topic for y'all tonight, so can't wait to dive into that. But if you're listening right now, you're on blogtalkradio.com/GST Radio. You want to cop some merch, you'll go to teespring.com/stores/GST Radio. And if you want to call in, phone number is 657-383-1155. And you know the Twitter is at GST_radio if you want to chime in on the conversation. Okay. I had a long day. Hold on, let me grab Willie in. Willie?
Did you just yawn? What the hell?
Oh, no, like,
No, you don't understand. My son had me up the last couple of nights until like 2 in the morning. I am tired.
I feel you on that,
Like,
man.
I'm
Foolishness.
what's going on, brother?
Oh, shoot.
I was judging me harshly. I feel some kind of way. It was an unhelped yawn. Anywho, what was I about to say? I don't even know.
Did you welcome everybody to the show?
Topic? Yeah, well, I did that already.
Oh, you did that? Okay.
Yeah, I did all that.
For those who don't know, this is your boy Willie Styles, and apparently I'm late because I was trying to eat dinner, enjoy family time, and all that good stuff. And so, you know, I'm here though, fully invested.
Here I am. I thought you were on vacation again. You know how you do.
Well, I am with my fiancée, so yeah, kind of sort of, but I'm still working. No vacation, but you know, I am away from the snow, which is nice.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some snow tonight.
Yeah, they already got a 2-hour delay on schools. They're terrible. Snow ain't even hit the ground, but I guess. Anyway, we're going to jump right into this topic. The topic is, are we fooling ourselves with monogamy? Clint, you want to dive into how we got into this topic?
Well, last week we was having a discussion, and we started talking about relationships in the black community between the men and the women. You know, a topic we touched on plenty of times. But, you know, we started talking about the culture of our relationships, how, you know, we had Sapphire on, and we was talking about how the courting women, you know, how society or how we're depicted in media or what we learn, how emotionally, you know, unintelligent we are as a community, not, you know, everybody individually, but as a community we are when dealing with relationships, when dealing with the opposite sex, or in some cases same sex, just relationships, period. So, you know, I had posed a question to her. I was like, do you think part of the problem is, she was mentioning how, she was talking about how a lot of dudes got different baby mamas and a lot of women got different baby fathers. Are we really, the whole lot of us, meant to be in monogamous relationships? You know, so I posed that question to her, like, are we fooling ourselves being in monogamous relationships? Because, you know, some people, you know, they flourish with polygamy or polyamorous, or, you know, a lot of people are already in situationships to where, you know they got, you know, their main joint, and then they got a bunch of side joints, side pieces. You feel me? So instead of all the confusion and all the sneaking around and all the hostility, can we come together? Can people in these situations become more emotionally intelligent and sit down with each other and say, well, listen, since the situation already is what it is, we're already doing this. You feel me? Can we just make it legit? You know, and it's different. You know, because I was reading up on this before we got on, and throughout the week, it's, you know, they change. You know, polygamy and polyamorous are two different things. They trying to say, you know, polyamorous just is more gender. You know, it has no gender roles. It's like it's no not gender roles, but you know, they trying to say polygamy is more male with multiple wives, and polyamorous is, well, the women could have multiple husbands or multiple partners as well, or it could be more, you know what I mean? It could be like a whole family thing where it's multiple men and multiple women, and they're all just one unit, you know. And my thing is, back in the day, you know, marriage, because when we had our discussion about marriage before, and I had brought up the fact that marriage was really just a business construct. It had nothing to do with love. You know, that was something that the West media made for money and stuff like that. Like, marriage never had anything to really do with love. Marriage is like a European thing, the way we do it in our society, and it was more of so a coming together of families for business operations or for, you know, political reasons of stature like that. So, you know, that's why I posed the question, are we really fooling ourselves to where in this whole, I know some people prefer monogamy, but as a whole, do we think that, you know, monogamous relationships are working for us when we know in our community, you know, monogamy really ain't that big of a thing, to be honest with you. Everybody cheating on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's, I mean, like, that's in, like, when, and it's crazy because when that was said, I thought about it, like when Sapphire was saying about, you know, get all, like, the guys get all their baby moms together and they just make it one big family and make it work for them in a polygamous situation, like, and that's what basically it's love there too, but it's like basically saying where you're financially responsible, which as an eyes of law, you're financially responsible either way to care for the family that you created. But if you bring them all together, everybody is having this understanding. So like you said, there is none of that outside drama, you know, cheating on me with her, you still talking to her, you sleeping with me, but you're talking to the other baby mom, like those type of situations. So I don't know. I think some people possibly can make it work, but some people wouldn't because people are emotionally involved, and it's some people have been hurt in that situation where they can't see that working out for them. But for the ones that probably could make it work, maybe they should. Maybe that's what they should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, me myself, the way I look at it is, you know, and I definitely feel Clint on the history of the whole thing of you know, the fact that, you know, the marriage contract was more of a business deal. It was an agreement between either you know, two families or two estates in terms of how they were going to either merge together or how one was going to benefit from the other in such a way, you know, of being able to gain some type of additional power or some type of additional value or assets and things of that nature. And it was, you know, basically a monetary thing. It was basically a financial construct. But I think over the years, not over the years, maybe over the millennia, more like it, you know, things have changed. You know, I mean, I think, you know, we're in a time where love does come into play, where emotions come into play, where people want choice. You know, I mean, you still see there's certain cultures and certain countries where marriage and you know, arranged marriages are still a thing where family you know, the families make the decision of who gets married and who doesn't, and that kind of thing is still a thing. There's tribes that still, you know, decide based on you know, maybe not prowess, but attributes and family relationships, who should get married, that kind of thing. But, when we look at, TV and we look at the way people are doing things in a lot of Western societies and like you said, in Europe and things like that, we want choices and we want to be able to make that decision. A friend of mine, she came from India, and she had been offered in a arranged marriage to marry this guy from another family that was close to her family, and the way they did it in their culture was, or in their area where they lived, was that they, had these arranged marriages based on the family relationships. So if one family maybe was a business relationship between the two fathers, and then they decided, our children should marry each other, that kind of thing. So, and that's what happened to her. Her father had a business relationship with another guy, and he had a son. Her father being, in that business relationship said, hey, I got a daughter, we should have them marry each other. And so I forgot how old they were, but they were young. I want to say they were like, third, fourth, fifth grade, and their parents had already decided they were going to marry each other. So, when she came to the United States to go to school, her thing was, she saw new boys, she saw new opportunities, she saw new ways of doing things, and she felt like she needed a choice, and she decided to go against her parents and not marry the other boy. So, the big thing is that things have changed, ideas have changed. I mean, you got to think, in the Bible, they practiced polygamy, and they practiced having multiple wives and that kind of thing, and they practiced having large families that live together and that kind of thing. But you see now, that's looked down upon. It's either being that it's illegal in certain countries, or just as a way of life. It's not allow in the family, or in the church rather, is they're saying, hey, you can't do that, that kind of thing. So it's it's a change in protocol, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of that has changed, and it's it's a timing thing, Will it work now? I mean, we see people. I mean, there's a couple this polygamous family on Instagram that I follow. They live here in Detroit, and it's a husband and his two wives. They say they make it work. You see it all over TV, on reality TV. I forgot the name of the family, but the one guy, he has, I think it's 5 wives or whatever.
Sister Wives. It's called Sister Wives. It's on TLC.
Yeah, Sister Wives. Yeah, so Sister Wives. And
then they have that one called Sister Wife.
Yeah, so so you see, you still see examples of people making that work, and there's more than just them, of course. There's other people who aren't publicized or put out there on TV and that kind of thing, but there's people who are out there making it work, right? I mean, I think that if it's something that you can make work, and it's something that everybody agrees to, they're all adults, then hey, do you make your thing work? Some people are very unofficial about it, of course, because it is illegal in the country, and it's something that's not readily accepted publicly. But it's it's a family construct that can work for some people, especially when they know how to not get vested in over emotional ties that will cause them to have jealousies and things of that nature. If they look at it as just a way of building and supporting their family, and it makes them happy, and they can make they can keep their children happy in that setup, then it works for them. And I mean, when I was watching it, at first I thought it was weird on the Sister Wives, but I after a while watching the way that they kind of did things, it just was like it's working for them. So.
Mm-hmm. I think, like you said.
Hold on, guys. I believe this is Sapphire calling in. Hold on. Hello.
Greetings, family. It's Sapphire.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Sapphire? Glad you called.
I'm doing just fine. I'm ready to listen
Sapphire.
to the show.
All right. I was just about to add on to what Willie was saying. Like I totally agree. I think as more things change, you know how the saying goes, more things change and more things stay the same. I think, it's probably looked down in the popular society in our country, but still in our country is prevalent as well, because you still have the Mormons, they practice that. The Muslims, I know Muslim families here in my city that, practice that as well, polygamy. But like you said, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I know how the Muslims, my Muslim brothers do it. It's not just, you're a Muslim, you can have multiple wives. It don't work like that. You have to be able to care for them. You have to be able to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Sapphire said, you also have to be emotionally intelligent. And sometimes it still don't, it don't work. But I know plenty of cases that do work. So it's always a case-by-case basis. But I think if more people look into it, I think it'll end a lot of problems instead of causing more problems. Because like I said, a lot of people are they're fighting against it, but they really live in that reality and just don't want to accept it. In the community, it's I feel I totally feel those who want just monogamy, just want to be exclusive and all that, but that works for you. That's what's best for you. More power to you. I have, but I remember, and then some people, like it's real. Like some people really don't. They want the family. I don't know how to say it. Like I was having a conversation with a friend a long time ago, and he was like, "Bro, he was like he wanted to be a father. Like he wanted the family, but he ain't necessarily want all the emotions that come with being in a relationship. You know what I mean? He really just wanted the setup. He more wanted to look at it more so as a business, as like like, all right, this is my castle. I got my kids. I got my heirs, and these are my wives. I take care of them. I make sure everything good. But as far as like all that emotion and all that lovey-dovey, that's just not any. You know what I mean? That's not what he wants. You know what I mean? So I know there's quite a few people, women out there that's like that too. You know what I mean? Like they're not really into the old lovey-dovey or into the relationship thing themselves, but they wouldn't mind still having offspring, so to speak. So and then like I said, it's in these days and times now, it has evolved. Because, like I said, it's more before polygamy is worldwide described as a man with multiple wives or concubines, however you want to put it. But now, it's more updated, and they want to call it polyamorous, to where, well, it ain't just a man, it's women as well with multiple husbands or wives, however they want to float their boat, whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. But it's more than just monogamy ain't what they into. They want to have, multiple partners and actually be in love with multiple partners. Like Willie said earlier, he followed people. I followed somebody online that I mentioned on here before, Brother Polite. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He he don't like to call himself conscious, but that's where he comes from, the conscious community. And he always preach, his stitches, family is a business. Family is a business. And he got multiple wives. He got one wife. She pregnant now. But they treat everything as a business. So it's different ways you can go about it. Like he like, this is our business. Family is business. So we take care of business. Then you got people who do it and it's love. I was reading, I can't forget the couple they call themselves. It's not the couple, but the group, what they call themselves. But it's not just women and a man, or it's multiple men and multiple women within it, and they all, it's one big old, family. Some people may look at it like, that's crazy, but like Willie said, that's what works for them. And I think more people should start doing what works for them instead of what society tells us. Yeah, what's the norm? You feel me? We don't know what the norm is.
What's the society?
What's accept? You feel me? Because like Willie mentioned, you know, the norm back in the day was, you know, polygamy. You know what I mean? That was normal. And then now, like he said, it's frowned upon in popular society. But, you know, people still do it. And like he said, some people, they really can't do it legally, but they still live that life.
Yeah. Sapphire?
Well, I want to say this about polygamy and the history of it. Polygamy has been the norm throughout some vacuums of time, but not all. I'm going to put that out there first. Moreover, I want to say this about polygamy. It sounds like a construct that would work for people who are willing to share their conjugal relationships, but I think we overlook, you must have integrity to be polygamous. You must. You may be able to skate by being less of a communicator or, you know, half of a spouse in a monogamous relationship, but you absolutely positively cannot be that in a polygamous relationship. So you must have integrity. You must be willing to work at all times as it relates to the emotional issues. You understand what I'm saying? Financial issues. It's not. Your friend that said he doesn't want to be emotionally attached, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You cannot have multiple people in a conjugal relationship and cut yourself off from them emotionally. You see what I'm saying? Because, first of all, we understand in a patriarchal culture what the man's role is. Okay? Now, that role, that masculine role, is even more so highlighted and underscored in a polygamous relationship. And so there are laws for polygamy around the world, and they're pretty much on even keel. The man must be able to financially afford these women. You see what I'm saying? You can't get in a polygamous relationship and be daddy man. You can't do that. And have the women scraping welfare, selling incense and candles and shit, you know, on the corner, on the boulevard. That's not going to work. The man must be financially fit and have a mind that is conducive to dealing with different attitudes and personalities, because you're not going to get a group of Stepford wives, right? So you have to be able to communicate with all of those women. I've got more, but I'm going to yield the mic.
Yeah, I agree, because you have to definitely be communicating, and then on top of that, you know, I grew up in a household with predominantly females. It was males in there, but the different emotional things that females, like every female is not necessarily the same. They're different, so you have to be able to deal with all of that, and then you're bringing kids into the situation, every situation. And even when you watch the TV shows with the like Sister Wives and stuff like that, there is you have to be like, at least from outside looking in, you have to be sensitive to their emotions, because you can get where you're either trying to get one or two pregnant and one got pregnant and the other one didn't. It's a lot of emotional stuff in that, so you have to be able to deal with all of that, and you can't. I agree with that, Sapphire. You can't emotionally check out that situation, because at the same time, everybody needs to feel secure. Everybody needs to be able to communicate, even when you're going through problems and stuff like that, because it's not all peaches and cream and roses. It's going to be ups and downs, just like any other relationship. It's just you have to learn how to deal with these things. And like I said, if that works for you, then that's good. But the same way some relationships don't. Like, some people are not relationship material. some people just can't function in a relationship, whether like they just meant to be single forever because they haven't developed that that mindset to be in a relationship. Or you get different types of people that you get that just think they're relationship material and they're just not. So and it's more than what Clint said, it has to be a case by case situation. You have to even walking into that situation. So say if I meet a guy and he's in that type of situation and he's trying to add me in, I have to check myself and see whether or not I can deal with this, because that's what comes to him come other people. And then if the kids involved, come the other kids. And you have to be a certain type of person that's willing to that can handle all that. That it's a lot. And jealousy does, from what I've seen in shows and stuff, jealousy is in there at some point. It's just how the man deals with it and how the man puts the flame out to make everybody feel secure in their spot. So it's like any other relationship. It's just with more women. Or if it was like Clint said, the reverse, with the women and the multiple husbands, that I have not seen that as much, or I guess it's not common knowledge to me, because like Sapphire said, for the most part, most polygamous relationships is normally the guy having multiple wives, even back into the kingdoms and stuff like that, and how they handle those types of things. So they were the sole breadwinner of the family, and they took care of everyone else. So I mean, as to my knowledge, I haven't not seen with the wife and husbands, but I would love to understand how that dynamic works.
Yeah, I actually saw a YouTube video about a year ago of a woman that had I don't know if they were both husbands or considered themselves her husband, but she had two men in her life, and I don't think the video went too deep into how they made the relationship work, but they were just kind of exploring a little bit into that lifestyle and how they both had a kind of a vested interest in the family, and it was funny to me because the way I looked at the two guys, it seemed to me like they were I guess it may sound judgmental when I say this, but just from the vibe I was getting from the video, it seemed to me that they were both kind of in this triangle relationship because they both had a vested interest in her and just didn't want to lose the footing that they had, and they were just allowing or settling for the situation. You know what I mean? She seemed to be more stronger than them emotionally, and just her forthrightness just seemed to be more stronger than them. You know what I mean? Like they both seem real meek to me. You know what I mean? And not to take away from having a meek man in their life, but I just think that I think that it was more of a situation where it was like neither one of them had the guts to stand up and say, I want to be your husband or nothing. You know what I mean? It was that's what it just came off to me. I mean, I could be wrong, and it could be something else, but that's just the way I was feeling from when I was watching it. And like I said, they didn't go too deep into how the relationship really worked from a deep standpoint. I think the video it couldn't have been more than like 5 or 10 minutes. If that. So, so I couldn't get a total feel for it, but I just thought it was interesting because, like, same thing you said, Sonny, is like I was like, wow, I've never seen it where the woman was kind of like in the middle of the relationship and taking, the role of having the multiple, relationships. But I do have a friend that had, like, he was married and his wife had like a girlfriend, right? So, and I know that that happens quite often as well, where, and it's probably happened more often than not, in terms of those relationships that are what they call are polyamorous, where you have that situation, and I think even the guy that's here in Detroit that has the two wives, I believe the two wives are actually like they are in love with each other, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's their situation, is that they actually are in a relationship. They kind of have that relationship together as well. It's not just one way between the two. Is actually the three of them. So I think that if it's a relationship that a person has a vested interest in, I think they'll make it work regardless, and they do have to make some concessions. I mean, because, not to say that the women in a polygamous relationship aren't making concessions. I think they're making concessions as well, because at some point you have to concede that you're going to be in a relationship with somebody who has somebody else. And you're either going to have to accept it, or you're going to have to get down with it, or whatever the case may be, and be in that relationship. But for some people, they like that. They like that either that structure, or they like the fact that they just feel the freedom in it.
And that's what I wanted to get back to what Sonny was mentioning earlier, because the common theme through all our shows when we talk about relationships is communication. I had just did a guest post on a blogger, a friend of ours who listens to the show and follow us. Her blog is A Thomas Point of View, and she asked me to write a guest post on it, and I wrote one, and it was talking about communication and relationships. I think when Sonny said and Sapphire mentioned, my thing about communication, my thing is, and I always say, these things need to be talked about way before you even engage in any relationship. You feel me? And
I agree.
Like what you want, forget about what you want from others. It's what you want from yourself. Know thyself first. You feel me? So before you even, that conversation, you have to know yourself first. And then when you engage in that conversation and engage in that, that dialogue with a couple or with the group, however it goes down, then you can go from there. But communication is always key, and communication should be paramount from the door. From the door. Sonny Boy, oh man, what's his name? No. TV show that boy, he left Criminal Minds. He got his own show called SWAT now.
Oh, Shamar Moore.
Shamar Moore, yeah. So on that show, right? It's a female on the show, on the SWAT team. She go both ways, and it's crazy. I didn't even think about this, but it's perfect for this show. She was approached. She got into a relationship with a woman or whatever, and at first the woman was just her and the woman. So then the woman came out and told her, like, listen, I'm actually married, and I got a man, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, we both want you to join us. You feel me? And the only reason why I didn't introduce him first, because I thought it would be more comfortable talking to me first and then bring him in later. And at first she was skeptical. She had to think about it. She didn't know if she was prepared for it. She got other people's opinion. And then eventually, she said, you know what? Boom, I'm going to do it. And now she's in it. And, but, like, that's how it goes down sometimes. But to your point about, this is the reason why I brought up this topic or to pose this question to Sapphire, because we was talking about how the poor the relationships is in our communities and how emotionally unintelligent. I keep going back to that. My thing is, y'all say y'all never seen a woman have multiple husbands. Well, in our community, most people ain't married. We don't call them husbands, but y'all can't tell me y'all don't know women with a bunch of dudes. You feel me?
I ain't never said that. Never said that.
But this is the point why I wanted to get to it. To are we fooling ourselves? Because I know situations where dudes are dealing with the same girl and they know it. And they know it.
True. That's true.
You feel me? And they know it. Like, and it's like, okay, I almost said their names. God forgive me.
Don't do it.
You're going to get people in trouble.
Almost slipped
get
up.
shut down.
Like, but right now, it's like two dudes I know, like, they dealing with the same girl. They know it, and they still hang around each other. But yet, they won't come together. You feel me? It's I guess it's a little tacit agreement. But, like, at the end of the day, you're already living that life. So if y'all was to come together, I guess, and like you said, Willie, and like you was mentioning, the optics because a man's supposed to be the authority figure. He's supposed to be the one. So the optics would be like, all right, they look weak and they letting this woman control them. But at the end of the day, y'all living that.
Yeah,
you feel me? Y'all living it.
I think it's the concession of it, right? And I think when the two guys that's doing it, and the situation, to be honest, I've been in that situation where I was with a chick that I knew, actually 2 times, where I knew that they had another man. Like they had I was a side dude. You know what I mean? And so it was like, my thing was, I was good with that because that's what I needed out of the relationship. I didn't need a full-blown relationship. You know what I mean? That's my thing. It's like one of them, she had a kid, and she would do different things with her kid. I would hang out with her and her kid, and we would do stuff, and we had a sexual relationship and all that kind of stuff. But I knew she had a dude, and her thing is he didn't provide her the emotional support she wanted, and I was more emotionally vested with her in that way because we were friends. But I didn't really want to be in a relationship with her because I just didn't. Like, it wasn't what I wanted. I had other options out there, and I was like, I'm keeping my options open. And I know what type of woman you are, that you're not in that way about her and her dude, but about the way with just the type of person she was, you know what I mean? And it just didn't match up with what I was trying to do in life. So I'm like, I'm good with this situation. And I think that when you make a conscious decision that you're going to just have what you need at the time, then that's one thing, But I think in that situation where the dudes were like living together and being with this one woman, or even a woman being with multiple men, or the other people I was talking about, they have like the guys with one girl and the girls with another. You're making conscious decisions about an arrangement that's more vested, that's even more vested. You know what I mean? Because you're saying we're going to be one big happy family, and I think that takes a little bit more of a deeper commitment. You know what I mean? Because now you're in a committed relationship. There's no option. Indeed, the option is you're right there. All your options are on the table. You guys are putting it all in, and you're going to do this together. And to make that kind of decision, like we've been talking about, it takes an emotional as well as a psychological, as well as a financial commitment and maturity, right, on all of those levels. Does everybody have all 3 of those? Maybe not. But, I think that, because I know for me, that wasn't on the table for me, and it's something that I wouldn't concede to. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with her and her dude. She was having enough problems with him. I didn't want to be with him too. You know what I mean? So straight on that. So, but I think that, for what I was doing, I helped take care of kids, help do this, help do that. I was good with that. It was no big deal, But, I think for other people, it's like you said, emotionally, let's even use me as an example. I wouldn't emotionally want to be involved in that, you know what I mean? Because I saw no benefit, you know what I mean? Some people may not see a good outcome with the emotions that are on the table, or even being able to say, oh, we can build something together, because that's the other thing. When you're in a relationship, you're usually trying to build a strong family, maybe a family business, maybe, partners in some type of, life investment. That's the other thing. Are you really doing something that's beneficial to what you want out of a relationship like that?
Yeah, and it's funny, Clint, that you mentioned that, because I remember back a while, like few years back, pre my son years back, I had a guy that I knew, and he was married, and he came at me like the same like you talking about the girl on the show, and he's married. Like he let me know up front, I'm married. I showed my wife a picture of you, and we want you to be our girlfriend. I'm like, what? Wait, what? Like that was all new to me, and I was like he really like sat there and really discussed it with me, like they had other girlfriends, blah blah blah, and this and the third, and like to think about something like that really had me caught off guard, and I had to think about that, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like I've never dealt with that, so I don't know how I will like, and I told him there's no way I can honestly answer because I don't know how that will work out for me, but like they possibly could have been in that type of relationship where, you know, they were like exploring polygamy or whatever the case may be, but like they were like borderline that, and it was like so when you ask somebody that and then walk in this situation, you have to like what you say, you have to realize whether or not you here for that, or can you deal with that? Like, are you prepared for what comes with that? And even back then, as much as I was unsure, I was like, yeah, no, I think I'm a pass because I don't know if I can even tolerate or deal with that because you just don't know. Like, and even going forward, like you talk about relationships where, like what is that? I've been a side chick before. I've done that before, and not proud of it. But like, let's be honest, it's realistic. It's happened. I think some females at some point in life was a side chick, whether she realized it or not. She probably was one at one point. Not voluntary or sometimes voluntary. Who knows? But you have to realize whether or not, like, and I think that's part of the problem. Like, it's situations where if you had just communicated with a female, she might have been, like in my situation, I was well aware of what the situation was, and I knew my part that I was playing in it, and I accepted that because I didn't want a relationship at the time. I wasn't looking for anything serious at that time. So for that situation, it benefited me, and I didn't stop his plans. I didn't stop what he was doing with his life. I didn't cause any problems and stuff like that, whatever. Like some chicks do. But that's the thing. Like, it's a lot of people that aren't honest of what they want, and therefore when it becomes that situation, this is why the drama ensues because you don't communicate. Because you have females that are absolutely okay with that, even currently that are actually okay with that, and you're busy lying, and like people, and even guys, guys are okay with that. Most guys are okay with being side dudes. If you communicate with them, and they know the situation, they're fine with it. But it's like, and it's been to a point where people aren't being upfront and honest, and they aren't allowing people to sign up for these things or not sign up for these things. You're finding out at some point that this person you're dealing with is either married, in a relationship, or whatever the case may be. So if you are upfront, you realize that there's a lot of people that are with it. And some people may, like, you might realize that some, like with this polygamy thing or a poly lifestyle, some people might be okay with that. But I think people need to realize their options, and if that's something that they're into, be upfront with it. You never know who is for it and who's not for it, but you have to allow people to make those decisions. But I think that a lot of people just do what they want, and then the situation happens, and they're just like, oh, well, you know, and trying to explain themselves out of it. But it's like, I think honesty is a big key in situations where people are upfront with what they want, and if you're like I said, you might realize that, like, a lot of dudes don't want relationships, and they're like, okay, I don't want a relationship. You tell a girl, I don't want a relationship, I just want to hump. She might be with that. Or a guy might, vice versa. Mm-hmm. You might be a female that's just not really looking for a relationship. You just want somebody to hump on. And if he tells it to this guy, he's on board with it because that's all he wants. But the biggest problem is people don't know how to communicate that.
I think, because I was having this conversation with somebody earlier, I was telling them about the show, one of my clients, and you know, and we both came to the conclusion, really, this is how I really feel. Like, I posed a question, you know, I like playing the devil's advocate, but this is how I really feel about the situation. The majority of us aren't even mature enough to be in a monogamous relationship. The hell with a polygamous relationship. That's our problem in our community. Like, we're not emotionally mature enough. We're, you feel me, we're too much influenced by what we see on TV or what we think should be. You know what I mean? We don't even know ourselves well enough. We don't even love ourselves enough to love somebody else. And I think that's the problem. I know too many people. Just think about the people you know, and then when you hear about the issues they have in a relationship, and you be like, yo, that's why I say communication is key. You be like, yo, y'all been in a relationship for like 2 years, and y'all never had that conversation, whatever the issue may be. You feel me? Like, I know y'all know people like that. Like, y'all never had that conversation before about this, that, and the third. You don't know that he don't want kids, or you don't know she don't want kids, or you didn't know she was thinking about moving out of town, or like just stuff like that. It's like y'all going in. Exactly. You feel me? Y'all jumping in. Like Jay Hov said it best. You know what I mean? Love me with your mind, not your heart. Because you feel me? Too many times we're not thinking. We're just acting straight off emotion, straight off of feeling. Oh, this feels good, so it must be good, and let's run with it. You know, I was just in that situation previously, not too long ago, to where, you know, like everything started off good, you know, that honeymoon period in a relationship or in a so-called getting to know each other, but we really not getting to know each other. You feel me? We're physically attracted to each other. You feel me? We're physically attracted to each other, and we're basing our feelings for each other off of how we feel, how we're making each other feel, instead of really getting to know each other. You know, if I said that right. You know what I mean? We really not getting to know each other. We're just, you know, we're letting lust
exactly drive our relationship. That's basically what he's saying. And that's usually the problem.
Exactly. And that's where we had the conversation about it. We did the show about sex. You feel me? It's like we're basing everything off of sex. The society is driven by sex. So, you know, relationships fail because the sex ain't right. But meanwhile, you never communicated to your partner, whether it's the woman or the man, about the sex. That's what I'm talking. That's another thing. Like, so you don't even know. Your partner may be thinking he or she is doing the right thing, but you don't like it, but you never told them because you're scared to hurt their feelings, or you're not mature enough to have that conversation. If you're not mature enough to tell somebody, well, listen, this is how I like to be loved, then why are you even having love? That's why when we're talking about faking it or faking orgasms, like, why? Why are you doing that to yourself? You feel me? You're just lying to yourself. To me, that's mental. You feel me? That's mental. That's a mental problem because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or you don't want to lose that person. Well, technically, you're lying to them, and you're cheating yourself, and you're cheating them. So if we can't be honest with ourselves, how can we even be honest in a monogamous relationship, let alone a polyamorous or polygamous relationship? You feel me? I mean, I'm not talking about all of it as a whole. I mean, individually. I'm talking about this as a collective group. You know what I mean? You see it every day. It's like we're not mature enough for that. We haven't reached that point. Until we reach that point to where we can love ourselves, and like I said, this is my opinion, till we can love ourselves enough, you feel me, to have these conversations with other people, you know what I mean, or each other, then I really don't see nothing changing. I really see it's still a lot of dysfunction within our community as far as relationships go.
I agree. There's a lot of people that don't love themselves. There's a lot of people that don't necessarily love themselves, don't know themselves without being in relationships. Like some people, they only feel like they're themselves when they with somebody. They're not, like, this is why I say, as much as people, like, and it's crazy because, and I want Sapphire trying to jump in after if she still looks around, but I feel like most people, like, people get mad, people judge people for being single for a period of time, whether they feel like it's too long for them to be, that person to be single and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, it's a lot of people that are scared to be alone. So they sit in relationships that don't work for them. But because they just don't want to be alone, they can't they don't function properly, and that's a big problem, because if you can't be happy by yourself, you're never gonna be happy with nobody.
Exactly. That's why I hate that. That's why I hate the word conceited, or somebody's full of themselves, or somebody's selfish. Like, somebody who didn't love themselves or who had an issue with themselves came up with those terms. Now, I could see somebody being arrogant or overly abrasive, having an issue with that. But don't get mad at me because I love myself. You feel me?
Yeah.
And like Sonny said, and I always tell and I told a lot of women that, like, it's hard, and I know it's hard being in a relationship with me. It's because, you feel me, you can't threaten me with leaving me. You understand? It's hard to argue with somebody who likes to be alone. You know what I mean? I think I told you said that. Like, it's hard to, you know what I mean? You can't, like, them threats. Okay, bye. You feel me? Like, I'm going to still be me. I'm going to still love me. I'm not about to be depressed over here. You feel me? And, you know, I know that I can go find somebody else. You feel me? First of all, you women, I mean, y'all outnumber us. Well, you know what I mean? I think the number's like 7-1 or something like that. Y'all outnumber us. You feel me? So it's, you know, we got the pick of the litter. So you're not hurting me. You threaten me. You want to leave me, or you're not happy with me. Okay. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you feel me? I also notice that's a problem as well. That's a problem as well, because I could just cut somebody off. You feel me? That's a part of being. I think I have to mature in that area. I have to mature in that area. That's me knowing myself. Because sometimes I could just be, all right, well, forget communicating. Instead of trying to work the problem out, boom, it's over. It's over. I don't even want to work the problem out. Forget the problem. Going about your business. You feel me? And I think that's an issue in a lot of our relationships. We're not communicating. You feel me? It's too much not selfishness, but it's too much self-absorbedness. That's the word I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like, I like it's no problem with being selfish, but when you self-absorb, that means it's all about you. You feel me? Selfishness is, no, I'm going to take care of myself. I got to make sure myself good, because if I'm not happy, I can't make nobody else happy. But when I come with self-absorbed, where, okay, it's all about me, and all I care about is my feelings, then we're not getting nowhere. And in our community, I feel like it's too many people that's self-absorbed. You feel me? They only care about how they feel, you know what I mean, or what's going on with them. You know, and you can't progress like that. You can't progress like that. That's why I don't ever see, you know, on a large scale in this day and time, polygamy working. Even though, you know, I can understand the concept. Like, I fully understand the concept of it. You know, talking to my Muslim brothers, talking to just people who actually live that lifestyle. But like on a grand scale, I don't think it could work for you know, because like we really behind the 8 ball in our community. Like it's hard out here. To all my single people out there, to all my single, like, you know, like, to people who really trying to find somebody, trying to, like, you see the trash that's out here on both sides, on the men's side, on the women's side. It's like, yo, like it's a lot of damaged people out here. It's a lot of damaged people.
It is. It's a lot of broken people that's broken together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, hurt people hurt people. They hurt people together.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's, you know what, I just posted, I posted, you know what's crazy? I posted a meme. I'm about to tell you that, well, not even a meme, a quote. And I posted it, and it's the most realest shit. Like, it's so real. Like, I'm out there. Hold on, let me pull it up, because I want to say it on air. I want y'all to hear this shit, because it's so true. Like, reading that one, it was just like, wow. Because it's so true. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll through my timeline.
Until she find it. Also,
while you're looking for that, can I add something? Okay.
Go ahead,
yes. With polygamy, one of the major reasons why it doesn't work here in Northern America is because, especially in the Black community, is because the people that choose to practice it, 99% of them are not willing to practice it to the letter of the law of polygamy. They want to put their particular religious spin on it, and they want to tweak and do according to polygamy what is in their ego. And what am I saying here? I'm saying that a lot of them you will see. I'm going to use these two people. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nature Boy. Have you guys ever watched Carbonation?
Oh my goodness, Nature Boy is wild. Nature Boy is wild.
And King Noble.
Yeah.
Now looking at those two, they're both. Okay, I'll try to be serious here.
I can tell Willie and Sonny have no idea what you're talking about. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what? We're laughing.
On YouTube.
You know what? We got the same sense of humor. We're laughing for a reason. Okay, but wait, let me get this out. Now, with King Noble and Nature Boy, the both of them are practicing polygamy, right? But of the two, now this is just my opinion, of the two, King Noble seems to be the more emotionally intelligent one. And I say that because while he does have multiple wives and multiple relationships, he says that his wives are individuals, right?
Fact.
And that they are in this relationship because of their intellectual honesty with one another. They believe there is this policy and a set of political how do I say this? A set of policies that they subscribe to, let's just put it that way, as far as their level of consciousness, as far as how they view the world. So they come together under that scope, right? Whereas Nature Boy, it's his ego on display. And he, you know, and the thing is, if you watch him, it's very educational because watching him will show you what is wrong with the relationships in the Black community. Everybody has to come up under his ego. He has his choice of women, and those women that he chooses must be totally engrossed in him when he's ready to be engrossed, right? But not only that, he has a color hierarchy, and then he had the nerve to have them play roles according to a committee. So there's a one that's a high chiefess who is not even able to declare complete sentences that make sense, but she's supposed to rule over everyone, when he sees fit, right? And then he has other wives who are supposed to have their bodies and minds available to him and his first wife at all times. They are bisexual as well as polygamous. And now he says that women are naturally monogamous while the man is naturally polygamous, right? But when you look at his situation, he doesn't practice what he preaches. I think that the best thing that he does, I got to give him credit where credit is due. When I watch him, I love to see how the brothers get along. I never see the brothers arguing and bickering, and scornful with one another. All the problems are with the women. But then if you got to be on display, and if he don't want you, he simply throw you to one of the guys, then I guess you would be scornful. You see what I'm saying? But it's really a microcosm of the macrocosm of what's wrong with relationships. Now, the point I wanted to drive home, and I want your opinion about this, if Black men had to practice polygamy within its truest self, many of them wouldn't do it. I submit that to you. Many of them wouldn't do it because you have to provide for these women and your children, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have an erectile dysfunction problem or if you become sick, you've got to throw in the towel because they're not going to stay with you. You can't provide for the children. These women, Western women, are not going to deal with erectile dysfunction and low finances on top of dealing with other women in the same conjugal relationship. So this is why they tweak it. You see what I'm saying? But if you were to sit the average black man down and explain to him what is required physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually, he would say, no, sir. No, sir. But because they can do it and not do it correctly, they enjoy doing it because there's not many repercussions. It's not considered legal. The only one that you're going to be responsible for is the one that you are actually legally married to. The other women are just going to be considered side chicks, and they have no holding in the court of law as far as marriage is concerned. Because the law is, how can you be in a common law relationship with someone that's already married? You mess around and go to jail being a bigamist or something. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if that law was tangible in this country, many of these men would say, no, sir. And when you look at countries, some of them hide it very well, but I'm going to tell you what's real. When you look at countries where polygamy is plentiful, this is where you have huge disparities in the wealth and poverty gaps. That type of polygamy in the third world countries causes a lot of homosexuality. That's what you all need to know. Because for the rich guys that can get 10 women, the top tier women, there are 25 guys who can't get a woman at all. That's why there's so much homosexuality in India and Asian countries. And it's in Africa as well, but they hide it very well because they have a law forbidding it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I just want you guys to think about that. If they had to practice it legally, they would not want to do it. And I want to finish up with this. What I said during the last show about men who want to be polygamous but already have several babies' mothers, he should be made to practice it with them. Polygamy will cause men and women to choose wisely as far as me. If a man knew, if this was a third world country and the law was if you get her pregnant, you're going to have to marry her, they would use condoms. Women would not be letting men have sex with them raw. I guarantee you, if there was responsibility attached to sex, it wouldn't be so attractive. But because this country allows people to be frivolous with sex, that's why they'll say, "Oh, I want to be polygamous," because you're not going to practice it to the letter of the law. You see what I'm saying?
I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, totally agree on that one.
Yeah.
Black men, let me tell you something. I always say this about men as a whole, just not even black men. Men as a whole are way more sensitive and fragile than women emotionally.
Amen.
It's not even, to me, it's not even close.
Amen.
Like it's not, like the gap is so far apart, like it's not even close. So when you say if it was a law and man would refuse it, I totally agree with you, because a man could have two of the three. You feel me? He could take care of financially, handle his business in bed, but you feel me? Dealing with multiple women, emotions, and trying to, like, that's hard. That's hard, especially for our community where a lot of black men were moving off the ego, and that ego, like you said with Nature Boy, that ego, that's really sensitivity. You feel me? That's really fragility to me. You feel me? Because ego can only get you somewhere. It's not get you so far. You know what I mean? It's not nothing that you can really sustain without being emotionally mature. You feel me? Most dudes who all that bravado and all that, that's just a smoke screen. You know what I mean? They're not really letting everything out They're not really being honest with themselves. And that's the problem with our community, with the black men. A lot of us are not honest with ourselves. A lot of us are scared to look in the mirror and be totally 100. Like I always say, the scariest place in the world is the mirror, because a lot of us don't really want to be honest with ourselves and look thoroughly at ourselves. You know what I mean? That's the problem with black men. So, you know, most men wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? They could barely take care of one woman. One woman is too much for them. So when you're talking about multiple women being forced to, nah. And I totally agree with you. If sex was, when it comes to sex, like, and that was my thing about when we had that conversation before, when we had that show before, it's like we so obsessed with sex because everything is based off of it, but we're not responsible with it. You feel me? We're not responsible with it at all. You know what I mean? And when you put some responsibility on it, most people not going to be handled it. Yeah, you get her pregnant, bro, you got to marry her. Now you got to take care of her and the kids. You got her pregnant too, well, you got to marry her too, take care of her and them kids too. You know what I mean? You are obligated. So you just can't say nah.
And I want to ask you if you notice this. I don't know if men notice this, but I'm noticing this. Millennial women are mentally tougher than the generation before them. So a lot of these men who are saying they want polygamous relationships, they want these situationships, and these millennial women being mentally tough, they will be crafty on these men's ass. I'm just saying how I see it. Mm-hmm. You have the type of woman with a mentality that they need to be thinking ahead, or they need to get that bag. And I can foresee women getting together, crafting up a scheme, get insurance policy on him, and feeding him. You understand where I'm going with this? Feeding him unhealthy things. His ass drops dead. They're walking off into the sunset with the bag. Men have got to stop thinking, hear me roar. These women are mentally tough. They got to compete. They got to deal with a lot. You see what I'm saying? Men need to understand, and I see it. I see it in these women. They've got to compete physically, right? Mm-hmm. And that's wearing. And you've got to have some wits about yourself, to be strong in who you are. When men, what they need to do is minimal as far as self-preservation and how they present, as it relates to getting a woman. You see all these broke down dudes with women. Yeah, you see it all the time. But women, but they're judged to another standard. It makes them mentally tougher, so they can deal with a situation to get what they need. All the time, she blowing smoke up his butt. He's thinking he's got it like that. Get 3 of those women together, and his ass is in trouble. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, they don't think like that. But I can see it.
That's why I blame women too. I blame a lot of women too, because
they allow a lot.
Y'all allow way too much. Y'all allow way too much. Like, y'all can control a lot more, but y'all don't use your power enough because, for whatever reason, I believe it's your nature to nurture. So, you know what I mean? Y'all more, like I said, y'all more emotionally stable than us as a whole. Not all of y'all. Not all of y'all, but as a whole.
Right now, I'm not emotionally stable, but I was.
Y'all more, you feel me? But this is what I was saying earlier. It's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there. Like, the odds is in dudes' favor. You feel me? First of all, y'all outnumber us. Then you got way more black dudes in jail. Then you got this, you know what I mean, the dudes who like gay dudes. So for us, for men out here, we, you know what I mean, technically, you really don't got to work that hard to get a woman, just like the point Sapphire was just making. So it makes it so easy. You feel me? The men are always going to go to grab the low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? To where with women, it's the opposite. You feel me? Y'all looking for the top of the litter. You feel me? That's why y'all mention, because y'all competing for the best. Men not really, you know what I mean? Most men, I ain't saying all men, you feel me? But most men, they really not competing for the best woman. Yeah, we going to gawk at them, you feel me? try to get them. But if we don't, all right, whatever. I can get these 4 over here if I can't get that one I really want.
Oh my goodness! Yes, yes. That is that's it. Say that again. Say that again, please. Please say that again.
What do you say if I say for the people in the back.
Yo, if I can't get
the people in the back who ain't here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get those 4 over there if I can't get the one I really like.
Thank you.
Know what I mean? And those 4, and those 4 is the problem because they know that they're not the desired one, but the fact that they want something to hold on to, they're going to cling on to that man, knowing that man really ain't worth shit. you know
what's funny?
Let me ask you. I want to ask you this really quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to follow right behind you, Sapphire.
Okay, I wanted to ask you. Did you see 2 things really quick? Well, number 1, the other thing is when he gets those 4 women, right, and then he works on them like Nature Boy does, and he tells them, you need to be bisexual in this relationship because I'm not going to be able to be there for you sexually all the time. I need for you all to love one another as well as I do. Many of these men in these relationships, they say that to women. You know, it's okay for you all to love one another. We're one big happy family. You are sister wives. That's very dangerous because when you break down the guards that some women have for themselves and you introduce them to bisexuality, that's dangerous because next thing they're looking at is why do we need him? We're smart. We're making the money. We're doing the cleaning. We're doing all this. We have the baby. You know, really what we need is that sperm, and we can get rid of him. That's the one thing. But the other thing I want to ask you is, did you see where Nature Boy, when he took a new wife and she was from Africa, did you see that?
No, I missed out. I didn't see that one.
Well, he took a woman from Africa, and she's bilingual. She speaks like 3 languages, Dutch and her native tongue, and then she speaks English, right? And she was very different from his other wives, being that she was tall, slim, and dark-skinned, very model-esque looking, right? And she speaks all these languages. And you could tell that he was captivated with her, right? And when she came in and he started taking pictures with her and kissing her on her neck, the main wife went into a bipolar episode, right? And just went crazy, tearing up stuff. And I knew that would happen because what he did was he brought in someone that looks entirely different but looks more like him. And he couldn't realize that the other wives were intimidated because here he's got this intelligent woman who's bilingual. Not only that, she looks like him. And what does that other wives are? And later on, the other wife said it. Well, I feel like he feels she would be a better mate because they're both of the same skin tone. She's intelligent, tall, she's this. And you know what he told the wives? If you're intimidated, just let me know because we don't have any room for intimidation. We're all family. You know what I'm saying? Damn what you think. This is what I want. You see what I'm saying? So the ego, when he did that, that is the ego that causes a cancer to build in relationships. Ego is supposed to be checked. People don't understand that. It's supposed to be kept in check. And that's how you know you're dealing with integrity. He doesn't have any. And I just wanted to know if you saw that or what you thought about it.
I didn't see that particular one that you're talking about, but because I came over violence. You feel me? But I agree with everything you said about Nature Boy. I mean, his ego is crazy. But I'm about to send Sonny and Willie a YouTube clip. That's what I'm searching up right now. I'm about to text one from Nature Boy and one from King William, so you know what we're talking about. You see the type of dude that I'm so happy she brought these 2 dudes up. You feel me? Because I didn't think she was gonna go there. Like, you feel me? But I'm happy she brought them 2 because they're perfect examples of what we're talking about. They're perfect examples.
Well, I mean, just listening to Oh, go ahead, Sapphire. Sorry.
I was going to let you know, he made everyone cut their dreads off because his chiefess wife got in a jealous spell and cut her hair. His dreads were already falling out. Now, if that's not ego, I don't know what is.
Right. But yeah, just listening to the description of what happened with this new wife, I mean, you're right, Sapphire, in terms of the not only the ego but the not being able to empathize with the insecurity or the feelings that the other wives had. You know, him not being able to even have empathy enough to understand that there's going to be questions and there's going to be insecurities behind that. I mean, being in a relationship like that. I mean, we even saw it. I mean, if anybody else is watching, has ever watched Sister Wives, you know, we've seen it with Sister Wives, where, you know, he had these all these wives that were either his age or older, and, you know, he had been with them for so many years, and then one day, I forgot how many years later from the last wife, but, you know, he gets a fourth or fifth, no, I think it was a fifth wife, and his fifth wife is like 10 years younger than the last youngest one. And not only is she 10 years younger, but she's more of a guess what would like you say, like a model type, versus where, you know, these other women, they're 2, 3, 4 kids in, they're older, they're not feeling at their best. You know, one woman, I think she had gained like 100 pounds, after the birth of her kids, and was already depressed about her weight gain. So now he gets this new wife, and she's 98 pounds, soaking wet, and 20 years younger than her, or 15 years younger than her, and she's like, what the heck, you know? And it's like, it's that not even understanding the insecurities you put on another person, even though they were happy in the situation they were in, but they were in it together. And then, you know, you introduce this new thing, you know, and he was kind of not understanding at first, but then I think over some time he started to try to empathize with his wives after a long time. One was real strong. She didn't need any reassurance, but 2 or 3 of them they did, you know, and it was, you know, going through those situations with them, or going through those conversations rather with them, to understand where they were coming from, you know, trying to quell their fears, trying to get them to understand, you know, what was going on there. But, you know, I think that, you know, from the sounds of I forgot which one you said it was, they did this to his wives, but, you know, it's that, you know, just kind of like toss his hands up, like you just deal with it or get out, or deal with it or not, you know, whatever the case it is, you know, it's just not the way to go. You know, like you said, it's not being, one, emotionally mature about the situation, nor is it being, you know, conducive or you know, being you know, psychologically sensitive to the fact that, you know, this is a jarring thing for a person to go through, to see, you know. I mean, it happens when you see monogamous relationships where, you know, the man or whatever decides to go run after a younger woman, you know, that kind of thing. And not only is the woman he's with losing her husband, but she's also being dealt a blow because she's seeing him go for something that's younger and what she might think is prettier and all that other kind of stuff. It becomes an emotional blow as well as, you know, a blow to the relationship, you know,
but who chose
psychological her? As well.
Who chose her? Who chose the new wife?
He did.
Now, remind me, Sonny, I don't know if you saw the episode where they explained how this worked, but I believe it was him and one of the other wives that made the choice, wasn't it?
No, I think he met her and then brought her to I believe the first wife.
Okay, he brought her to
now,
the first.
is the first wife secure? Is the first wife secure in herself, or is this the one that gained 100 pounds?
No, that's the one that's more secure in herself. Yeah. I think that was the one. Yeah, she was at least the first wife is more secure. I know she was a little bit more strong than the other ones.
Okay, well, look at this. If now in polygamy they say that the wives choose the next wife. This is what they say, right? So then, not only is another womb coming in, but you've got to choose it. And I don't believe, if these women are not gay, I don't believe they're gonna choose their competition. I don't believe it.
Right.
That's why in the black community, when they practice all that shit that they want, that the women choose, my wives choose, that's just a lie. Pick somebody he don't want and see if she becomes a part of the, the conjugal relationship.
Yeah.
He's not going to have it. He picks the wife.
That's the same thing I say about, like, when people have that conversation about threesomes. If a man bring a female to the table, the female that whether he dating a girl, married to the girl, whatever the case may be, he bring another girl to the table. That girl's had so many questions, like, who the fuck is she? How did you meet her? When did y'all have these conversations to bring her to me? Like, it's that mentality of who the fuck is this person?
And they choose. They choose. I'm going to say this. I don't talk about my personal life, but I want to use this as an example. One of my friends, her best friend, we were doing hair late one night on the weekend, and while I was doing her hair, her best friend called, and I could hear them talking. I said, "What are you guys arguing about?" She says, "Well, she wants to talk to you." And when I got on the phone, the woman she said it was her husband's birthday, and she said in their marriage, she has matured. I'm just telling you what she told me verbatim. She has matured, and her husband wants something that she might be able to provide. I thought she was going to say, "Can you do our hair?" or something. I didn't know. She asked me, would I do a threesome with them? I said, certainly not. But then I never looked at her the same, and let me tell you why. Because for her to reach out to me and to be okay with it made me think that she was gay or bisexual or something. Because I just don't believe women will acquiesce like that. I just don't believe it. They're going to pick somebody that, if they're willing to do it, somebody that they're attracted to as well. In that situation, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
Sonny, what was that quote you had?
I will say that. Huh?
Did you find it? Did you ever find that meme?
Oh yeah, I found it, but I did find a quote, and it was about, like, hurt people, whatever, and it says, it's by this girl on Twitter named Ebony Davis. And it says, "It just occurred to me that many people are actually afraid to heal because their entire identity is centered around trauma they've experienced. They have no idea who they are outside of trauma, and that unknown can be terrifying." Like, that's that's real as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep, yes.
Because it is. It's people that's so used to being hurt that they can't see being happy. So they just so engulfed in that hurt that they can't even function with happiness.
Facts.
And that's honest and crazy.
Yeah, I wrote in that piece I did for Thomas Viewpoint. I wrote, like, we always ask for others. We always talk about what we want from others. We really don't know what we want for ourselves. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And that's a part of not dealing with the trauma. Like, you haven't even dealt with your own issues. You don't know you. You feel me? You don't know what makes you tick. You feel me? You don't know why you're acting the way you act, or why you crave the things you crave, or react the way you react. But yet, you know what I mean, we have these requests from other people, you know what I mean, that we want to get in a relationship with. We talk about what we want in a relationship. Well, you know what I mean? Have you dealt with yourself? You know what I mean? A lot of us haven't dealt with our own issues, the things we've been through. We haven't dealt with it. We haven't dealt with it. So now we're bringing that same trauma, that same issues to the next relationship. You know what I mean? We're not learning the lessons that we need to learn. You feel me? We're not improving. You feel me? As a whole.
Yeah.
You feel me? And like that quote hits home.
That was
we got about under 5 minutes, but I will say this. Like and it's like y'all know I share a lot of me on here, but I feel like right now I'm at the most vulnerable point in my life because I've been emotionally distraught since my mom passed. So I'm at this really part where I need to heal me, and it's crazy because in the same process I'm going through different things. And I'm reacting out of emotion, and everybody is like, oh, well, we're not used to this coming from you because you're so strong. And I'm like, everything bothers me right at this point, like everything. It could be the smallest thing, but everything bothers me at that point. And at the same time, everybody's like, I'm not used to you being this way. And everybody's like, well, you shouldn't be going through certain things. It's like I shouldn't be, but at the same time, these different situations are very different. Like, added on stuff. And it's like, yeah, I shouldn't be going through this at the same time, like work, home life, relationship, all this stuff. It's like a lot of stuff happening at one time. But you're talking about somebody that's been emotionally broken since 2015, since my mom passed. So I need to heal from that. And it's like, everybody is like I understand what's going on with me. And the fact that I'm acting super emotional to different things, it's weird because people are like, well, people are reacting to that, and it's like I have to heal me because normal me wouldn't be bothered with a lot of this stuff. Like I wouldn't be affected by a lot of this stuff because you have to, like, basically what I'm saying is you have to identify what your issue is and try to fix it. I know what my issue is. Fixing it is the problem. Like when I'm gonna have time to fix it because I need to, because I can't be like, this is not me. This is not normal me. And at the same time, I think a lot of people get so to the point where they're emotionally broken that they can't, that they haven't recognized that they need to fix themselves. Outside of everything else that's going on, they need to heal themselves. And when I read that quote, it would hit me so hard because at the same time, like I'm not relishing in that hurt. I want to move past it. But it's a lot of people that relish in that hurt, and they thrive off of that. Like they're so accustomed to it that they can't. They relish off of it, and that's crazy to me because I don't want to hurt. I want to fix it. And there's a lot of people that don't want to fix it. They want to deal with that. They want to be stuck in it.
I don't think they relish it. I think that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I want to ask you where you are.
Because I've been there before. I'm sorry,
I've been there too. My mom passed. I want to ask you, Sonny, where are you in the grief process with your mom?
Like, I haven't even dealt with it.
Okay, but even though you mentally you think you haven't dealt with it, there's like 5 stages to grief. There's 5 stages, whether you were
and I
mindful.
understand that, but it's not even just her. Like, you're talking about my mom passed, my son was diagnosed with autism, my grandma passed, and work problems, home, children problems, and relationship problems. So, like, I'm one of the people that don't deal with things. Like, if I can react to it, like when my son was diagnosed with autism, it was about to be over. But like when my son was diagnosed with autism, I didn't deal with it. I just reacted. Like I did what I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I do. So I don't necessarily deal with it and process it and like go through those stages. Like I've never done that.
But
so, now I'm at the point where.
Do you understand that you were? But see, what you said is a good thing. That's what I want you to understand. You said I did what I was supposed to do. That tells me that you're still functional. You haven't shut down. I can understand you being emotional. You've got a lot on your plate, so don't beat yourself up for that. But here's what I want to tell you. What I had to
got a minute left.
Okay, I want to tell her this quickly. This is important. I had to understand what my mother wanted for me. She transitioned, but she wanted me to be healthy and safe and prosperous. Your mother wants that for you. Her love for you didn't transition. It's still there. So just know that. She could be hurt right now spiritually, knowing that you're still hurt. So I'm just saying you're still functional, It's a good thing. But know that your mom wants you to be better. That's all I want to say.
All right, guys. I don't know. Did we time run out? I don't even know. What the hell? But thank y'all for listening to the night show. Thank you, Sapphire, for that, at least. Clint?
See you on 7 days.
Oh, and I want to tell you, you remind me of King Noble. Okay.
Oh.
You already know I'm talking to you,
video,
right?
Send me the video.
I've been wanting to tell you that for the longest.
Oh man, that's too funny. That's too
Clint?
funny.
Yeah.
Clint.
He already knew. I didn't have to